So, Mike Humphreys, good to meet you. Thanks for coming tonight.
Likewise. Thanks, John.
That is a very sort of that background sort of reminds me of The Shining. I don't know why.
So what the background, and everybody asked about it, was I found it online on as a free background. And in my office, I have no windows. It's dark in different spots. Lighting is really difficult for Zoom calls.
hmm
And so it's like I found this one, it works. It didn't get blurred out. I look fine in front of it, makes sense, like not, pale guy on the beach background, so um,
Okay.
it's like, okay, checkbox, go off, do something else now.
Cool. Yeah, I think I don't have we done a call before? I don't believe we have.
We have not. No, this is our first time actually meeting, face to face, talking. Up up until now, we've talked through email and Facebook and whatnot over the years.
hmm And you have been in this direct marketing, internet marketing thing. How long?
Wow. So I've been doing I discovered direct response marketing in 1993, used it to apply to my own businesses. And then in 2006, I fell into copywriting, started working with copywriting clients, and I've been doing copywriting and marketing for clients ever since. So, 17, almost 18 years now.
Okay, so you were doing it before people were typing how to make money online into Google.
I was doing it. I jokingly say I was part of the launch campaign for Fire. We promoted Fire to the world.
Okay. I was the guy writing the copy on the AOL CDs.
Yeah, I remember those free AOL CDs and dial-up connections and
We used to get them sometimes like on computer magazines here, but like the
uh-huh.
frustrating thing was like AOL didn't exist in Ireland. It was like, oh, this seems really, really cool. I'd love to see what it's all about.
Talk
But we
about bait
couldn't
and
use
switch.
it. And are you in financial? What do you write for?
Yeah, so I have written a wide range of projects and niches. I have written health, weight loss, financial, biz op. Um, a lot of what I have written has been biz op and internet marketing related.
Hmm?
Um, Earlier this year, I took a position with a dental company called Freedom Dental Partners, where I'm the director of marketing.
Yes.
And it's literally selling addressing pain points of dentists and dental practice owners where we're selling business opportunities to them. They want to get out of the dental business. They want to sell their practice. We have a way of helping with that. They want to do it fast. We have another way to help them do that to kind of flip their practice, quickly. They don't get as much for it, but then it's a quicker exit. They're getting tired of dentistry, so they want to develop a side business. Well, we have a sleep center treatment as a franchise that they can develop as a secondary income stream. They want to take money they've earned through dentistry and they want to invest in other dental practices. We have a program for that. So it's it's a good reminder that you can learn skill sets of marketing and copywriting and apply it, take it from one niche and apply it in another, and it's universally applicable and works no matter what. So, like this morning, I was working with my team on an upcoming webinar we'll be doing. After this meeting, I'll be shifting gears and working on a VSL for a book a call funnel. Um, so, you know, same concepts, different niche.
And are these the company you're working for? Is like, is that a marketing driven company, or did it sort of start out by is it a dentistry driven company?
Good question. It was started by two former dentists who had individually on their own before they ever met, had bought and sold their own dental practices. In the case of the one founder, he actually, coming out of dental school, was able to arrange the financing to buy four separate dental practices, put them under one banner with him as the owner, that he eventually sold for a multiple down the road. So they've taken what they have know that they know about the dental industry as a whole and about buying and selling dental practices and apply it towards this business. They've combined forces. A couple of years ago, they did combine forces to form Freedom Dental Partners, and they've hired other team members to work with them in terms of writing the marketing, the sales calls, operational, you name it. So it's I had a friend who introduced me to the company, actually introduced me to somebody who worked for the company. Um, and that got me the initial interview. And it was a wonderful experience because they move fast. I mean, from the initial meet to second interviews to an offer, all was in 13 days.
Oh,
I mean,
that is
just
good.
bang,
Yeah.
bang, 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 bang. And compare that to I had prospective clients I reached out to 6 months ago that I just heard from this week. Want to let you know, Mr. Humphreys, you made it to the second round. Second
What?
round of what? I have no idea. But I sent a very polite email back. Thanks for considering me, but I've accepted another opportunity
I've
elsewhere.
moved on in my
Um,
life.
yeah, you know, there's fiction and there's reality. Reality is, and you're a working copywriter, you need any gaps in your schedule means you're not making any money. So
Absolutely.
you can't have gaps, and that means you've got to take client work or work with companies, to make sure there's no gaps. And sometimes it's your dream client, and sometimes it's a client for the week or the month that helps you, meet your cash flow needs, but at the same time, professionally, deliver your best effort. You give them your A game and do the very best you can for them.
So,
So, this particular opportunity came about because, a mutual friend of mine, Angie Coley, introduced me to the company.
yes, she's a cool
Um,
person and she's a
Great
good woman.
person. Amazing thing is I've known her for probably 15 years, but yet as of this recording, I haven't met her in person yet, which is
Okay.
entirely on me because Angie goes to plenty of different marketing events and I'm like in my man cave working all the time. I don't like
Okay.
to travel. So, it's totally on her. It's gone from me owing Angie a drink to, paying for drinks for the night for Angie
Hmm.
when I finally do catch up with her. But I think it's a valuable lesson because Um, I met Angie earlier in her career. She asked me advice, questions about marketing, copywriting. I could see like she had the drive, she had the direction to go far with it on her own. I was happy to offer her suggestions, answer her questions, never asked for money, didn't ask for favors, nothing, just kind of paying it forward to, those coming behind me, just like people who came before me did for me. And the end result is years later, when I was looking for a new opportunity, Angie found out. She thought of me in terms of this opportunity, and boom, that's how I got my foot in the door. There was no fancy cold outreach done. There was no lumpy mail sent by me. There was no Facebook ad run. This was purely who got you the lead. And,
Yep.
Grant Cardone has a great line. I mean, a lot of lines he says, but one of my favorites that he says is, it's not who it's who knows you. Um, and that has helped me so many times in my copywriting career. Who knows me? Um, yeah.
Yeah. It's huge. I've had this experience so many times, and I've only been doing this like I got my first client in 2019,
Okay.
and yeah, just so many. Even today, I recently said, okay, you know what, I'm kind of getting bored of just writing for clients, and I sort of tried CMO for a while and didn't wasn't really a good fit for me. I'm not that person.
Right.
I came to realize I'm not that person. So I said, okay, I got to do something that's for me. I said, okay, I'm going to start doing local biz lead gen because I actually like working with brick and mortar businesses. I think
They're
there's
a
a
lot of
lot to be
fun.
said. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a grittiness about them that's very appealing, and with the sort of biz op coaching stuff, it can veer into that meme of the coach who coaches coaches very easily. And that kind of gets a bit like, where's the core of this business? Whereas something like what you're doing now, where you're working with real businesses like dentists, like, you're not in fantasy land. There's real constraints on how they operate their business, and you have to work around them and help
Yeah.
them to find better ways of doing things. And that's cool. But yeah, I just started just talking about it last month, and like people have come out of the woodwork and helped me out. All clients reached out and said, "Hey, I need that. People I haven't worked within 2, 3 years. I need that for my business. Can you help?"
Hmm.
Somebody reached out to me last night. Hey, I've got actually a client messaging me needs work for his catering business. I haven't got the time to do it. I'm so busy. Could you do it for him? And like these are
Right.
all people I've just been kind of maintaining sort of relationships with in Facebook comments over the years. And when you suddenly stuff just comes out of the woodwork, helps you out when you need it. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I was reading a book recently in terms of the hidden job market, and apparently something like 60 or 65% of jobs are never publicly posted that are created.
Yep.
And when I go onto Facebook, for example, and I look at some of the job boards there, and some of them, make a genuine effort to offer a very quality experience, a quality opportunity to connect, client with copywriter or other service professionals. But when you look at it like, okay, they post a job and 800 people apply to it for one position. I mean, the first thing that happens across my mind is just, oh man, I feel sorry for the client. I mean, it's like it's like a copywriter. Imagine if you got 800 emails at once, you'd be ready to cry. You wouldn't know whether to cry or lose your mind. You just talk about overwhelm. So that's number one. Number two, it's like you have that many applicants applying for one gig. Then how do you separate yourself from the pack? How do you differentiate yourself? And even if you do that well, and your approach to the client, there's no guarantee they're going to see your email or DM among the 800 other people who
This is
contacted
true. If
them.
you're number 735, there's a chance you might just get skipped over at 11 o'clock at night because somebody's super tired, has to go to bed.
Right. And they're doing this on top of their normal job. you
Yes.
know, if they've already put in a 16-hour day running their business and then they got to look at 800 emails, well, they might decide after number 8 that they've looked at it enough and I'm just going to make a decision now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've found all the best stuff that's come to me over the past few years has just come from building up connections and making friends with people. Um, and just actually having more conversations, talking to more people. And like people
Mhm.
will ask me about this stuff because I've sort of talked about networking a lot. I've like delivered little courses and trainings on it. And then people will say, like, what do you do? Like, there's no strategy. You just go talk to people. The more people you talk to, the higher the likelihood something interesting will come your way. It's like, it's so
Yeah.
stupidly simple. Like, what's the secret? There is no secret.
I, I, no joke. The one way I landed the one guru client of mine early in my career
Mhm.
was they had posted a thing in the Warrior Forum that they needed a graphic designer. And I knew a really solid graphic designer at the time. I reached out to the guru, said, hey, here's who I recommend, here's who I use. And boom, that was how I got in. I mean, it's that simple sometimes. You just make the effort to help somebody else. And, you know, Robert Cialdini talks about reciprocity. It happens in real life. You help somebody out, next thing you know, they're referring business to you, or somebody else comes out of left field and says, hey, I need your help.
Mhm. So with what you do with the dental marketing company, do you
Mm-hmm.
find yourself doing a lot of writing, or find yourself doing a lot of campaign and strategy work and copy chiefing others?
That's a really good question. I was brought on initially mostly to manage a copy team, marketing strategy, planning, and then CRO as well. They weren't doing any conversion optimization of their marketing. When I started looking at other things like their Facebook ads, for example, they had been running the same ad for 2.5 years.
Wow.
So the cost per click had gone up over time, and the effectiveness had dropped over time as the ad has fatigued out. They're not using the company, the agency they're using to run their Facebook ads was not using dynamic creative, which is a way to split test or multi-test different elements of a Facebook ad.
Hmm.
So you could test like 2 different headlines on a Facebook ad. And John, you probably already know this, and I'm sure a lot of your viewers do too. But it's really the way to pick up, easy wins and to optimize your marketing over time. Just testing a couple different headlines on an ad. So they weren't doing any of that. So that's the bulk of my day-to-day work is I am planning out the marketing strategy, marketing calendar, who needs to be doing what, who needs to be writing what. Same time, I like to play the strengths of my team. So if I have the writers who are available are best at short copy, I need a VSL written, then I write the VSL. Um, I'm fortunate at this point in my career. I've written everything except a Magalog. So whatever
What's a
whatever needs to be
magalog?
written.
I know I'm just joking, but I'm sure like a lot of copywriters now have no damn idea what the hell a
Oh,
magalog is.
and even if I was listening to Kim Schwalm recently, and she was saying about how she's written Magalogs, and yet clients are kind of like, yeah, well, it's good to know, but we really want to stick with online stuff. We really don't want to do a 30-page mailer and pay for postage and all the rest. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's different marketing that comes in vogue and others that fade out. But right now, sometimes I have to write copy a little bit more often than I want to, but that's okay. I still love it, and but I do get a rush out of planning the marketing and setting up a campaign, seeing it work. Like for example, one of our live events is coming up. Our numbers were below what they should be, so I took a look into Cvent, which is what we use to run the event, and saw there was 20 abandoned cart possibles who had started to fill out the paperwork and then didn't complete it. And so I sat down, wrote a couple of abandoned cart emails, plugged them in the Cvent, and within 3 days we picked up 20% of those people as new attendees with guests. So boom, easy win. So I get to do stuff like that every day. Yesterday I had a meeting with our tech guy, just going over automations in ClickUps, so that when we push a button for a campaign, let's say we're going to do a live webinar, boom, here's all the tasks popped up at once. Everything we need to be written for it. Now it's a matter of just assigning it to my team of writers. Some of it are assigned to me. Again, depending on bandwidth and playing the strengths.
That's awesome. That's what I was going to ask you next thing, because that's one thing I found with like working with people and like trying to get campaigns going is like a lot of the complexity is just like frameworking the whole thing. It's like knowing what operations need to be done and in what order to get
Yeah,
everything to come together on time.
yeah, absolutely. That's been a learning experience over time for me. I was fortunate that at many times in my career, I've been involved in product launches where everything had to be done by certain time periods in order for things to get launched on time. And when you've got, affiliates who they're getting ready to drop an email to their list of 10,000 people promoting your offer, you got to have your stuff ready to rock. It's got to be ready to go on time, and no exceptions. And I I did a launch for one client, Jason James. I mean, a name way back when, and in order to get everything done, I pulled almost an all-nighter, like 2 days in a row. And by the time I got done, I had walking pneumonia. I got everything done on time, and it was a hit. The launch pulled off really well. Front ends we did, depending on the affiliate, was between 4 to 10%. There was one affiliate who pulled a 0%, and when we looked at it, they were sending traffic from non-English speaking sources to a sales letter that was written 100% in English. So I was like, well, no wonder they got a 0%. Nobody could understand what they were reading.
Um, and so when you come into a situation like the company you're in now,
Hmm.
what you come in, there's an existing marketing operation going on, there's
Right,
existing offers running,
right.
and each of those offers has a lot of moving parts. It's got advertising, it's
Hmm.
got the main part of the offer, the front end offer to attract a new customer in, and then it's
Right.
got all of the different stuff that's going to happen on the back end after that customer makes their first purchase, what they're going to do next. So when there's so many moving parts, how are you assessing your situation coming in thinking, okay, I need to come in here, I need to make an impact. How am I going to actually make an impact?
Good question. So the first thing on my approach is I'm not going to come in there and tell them that they're doing everything wrong, because that's going to immediately put them on the defensive. And I want to develop allies and advocates
The new
as quickly
sheriff
as I
in
can.
town, right?
Yeah, the new sheriff in town. What I don't want them to do is go, who the fuck is this new guy coming in? Because I've made that mistake before in the past, and I've
Yeah,
experienced that myself in the past.
it sucks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Feels bad.
yeah, and they've been here in the dirt and the grime and the muck, cranking away at the stuff for weeks, months, years. They've gotten the maybe they may have been one of the original team members who got the company from ground zero to where it is now. So I make a point to respect, the people that are already there. I also don't know who my go-to players are going to be, who my superstars are yet. So I start asking a lot of questions. You know, what's the conversion rate on this page? Is there an upsell? What's the upsell converting at? Do you track what your abandoned cart rate is? Okay. If you are, what are you using to track this stuff? Just gathering information. Once I determine this, then I can start to figure out, okay, where do we improve things? If they have two offers, one's converting at 2%, one that's a half percent, I'm going to focus on the one that's half a percent first, trying to get the improvement there. A lot of times, just looking at, maybe something as simple as loading speed of the page. If it takes, a minute to load, people are bouncing. The attention span of the average prospect at this point, I think, is like 4 seconds, like goldfish speed. So it needs to load fast. It could be talking with the tech team in terms of that stuff. The layout of the page. Do the graphics look like they were created by a kindergartner with crayons? Or does it look like it's professional graphics? Do the graphics overpower the copy? If the layout and the design is correct, it can lift your response rate for your copy 25%, because it should work hand in hand. And if you find a designer who gets that, who work with you, you can create beautiful music together. So just looking at that. So for example, with this company that I'm working with now, one of my early questions on their webinar funnel was, okay, where you're getting your traffic from? Facebook. Okay. What's your metrics look like for that? Well, the frequency is around 2. Red flag. I mean, I like to see a frequency below 2, because then I know I'm going to get better CPM and better CPCs.
Can I stop you and ask you a question there? What is
Yeah, sure.
frequency? Because that's a terminology I haven't heard of.
Yeah, sure. So with Facebook, the number of times it shows an ad to the same person,
Okay. In the
that's
Facebook
your
Ads Manager.
frequency. Right. In the Facebook Ads Manager. So I believe it can go up to as high as 4. And if you get to 4, Facebook's going to just start punishing what they charge you, because they know it's not going to work as well. People are good. That's when you start seeing the comments on your Facebook ad about, why am I seeing this again?
Yes.
So, okay, so I know like their Facebook ad needs updating. Who on the team can do that? Do I have somebody on the team who can do it? If I don't, then I need to do it. So just really troubleshooting like that. My first 2 weeks working with this company, I took 25 pages of notes and then dictate my notes afterwards and create a separate file of just key points I need to hit. What are the problem areas, biggest pain points, problem areas? Now I know what to address, and I will tackle a couple at a time. If I try and do 20 at once, I'm spreading myself too thin. I'm spreading other people who, I have the track record with yet to ask for a lot of changes. But if I'm asking for one thing here or one thing there, it's easier to get people on board and get them in agreement with me, like, okay, yeah, we'll do that.
And then when you're coming to working with a company like this, are you actually going out and speaking to their users? Are you getting on the phone and talking with their customers?
Usually not, but that's certainly something I would do if I had to do it. I've done it before in the past when I started in the my marketing career. Well, when I started learning about direct response marketing, I owned a massage therapy center in the Philadelphia main line.
Hmm.
And I had started that business on pure bootstrap. It was like 6 months after we'd had a house fire, lost everything but the clothes on my back. I had like no money. So I literally, when I said I started with $100 budget, that was because that was what I could scrape together at the time. So I went pure, guerrilla marketing style, marketing early on, flyers, sign outside my office door and so forth, just trying to drum up business then. Over time, I scaled, reinvested in the business so I could deploy more things like Yellow Page ads and so forth. But early on, I would ask clients whether they were being treated by me, whether by one of my staff. You know, I made it part of the intake form. Why are you, what made you come in for massage day? How did you hear about us? And just tracking that data. I quickly discovered, what the pain points were for the audience, for our target audience. I discovered, like, for example, for massage therapy, they got to think you're stellar. You want to drive more than 5 miles to get to your office. Because when you look at all the objections that you have to overcome, okay, John, I want you to drive to my office. It's going to take you 45 minutes each way to get there. You're going to have to remove all your clothes, get underneath the sheet, have a complete stranger touch your body for an hour. You're going to enjoy the experience, and then you're going to pay me a lot of money, and you're going to book again for next week. How's that sound to you? Pretty nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah. I think I'd rather just stay home.
Exactly. So that's, I literally learned, sales on my feet, talking with massage clients, answering their objections, okay, continuity for massage, get them to buy a prepaid package of 5 or 10 sessions. Okay, well, you're now asking them to spend, if you charge $60 an hour, let's say, for simple math's sake, and they're buying a book of 10 appointments, that's $600. So
Mhm.
now face to face, I got to sell you on why spending $600 right now is a good idea. Um, and it's focusing on what are your pain points? How do you benefit from this? Um, so yeah, I have worked with clients who have gotten on the phones or had their sales team or customer service people do that. A lot of times, if I'm going to tackle that, I'll do a survey. I'll send an email out to the list as a survey. How can we best help you? Where can we improve upon? What's your bleeding neck problem? What keeps you awake at night? What's the biggest challenge you face in your business? You know, the biggest problem is managing our finances. Okay, cool. Well, we have these specialists who will work with your office manager and your team to optimize your books so that your business is more profitable. Is that of interest? Yeah. Okay. Well, here's a link. Go book an appointment with them, and they'll give you all the details.
Yes. Okay. So with then people like the people you're working with now, and the reason I'm asking these kind of questions is, I'm gotten into local business lead gen and starting to
Sure.
see like different sets of concerns with
Right.
people like dentists that you're working with. What are the concerns? Like, what are the problems that they come with, and that you create solutions? And how do you actually go from problem to solution with them?
So a lot of local businesses, you're dealing with two things. Number one, any campaign you run, they need to see results quickly. So if they spend $100 on a campaign on Monday, they like to have that $100 back by Friday. So they don't have to worry about covering taxes and payroll and rent and everything else that they know is coming due. So you may focus on more campaigns that are less money intensive. You might things that they can automate or hand over to you. So like local Google AdWords, for example, targeting people in their zip code radius. A referral system. Do they have existing customers? Okay. How can you incentivize those existing customers to refer new customers? So for massage therapy, for example, I had I called it Send a Friend. It was and I literally had a stamper made at Staples. I stamped the back of our business cards. I do a batch of them ahead of time. And their first appointment, we say we have a referral program. If you bring a family member or friend, send them in, we'll give them $10 off on their first appointment and you $10 off on your next appointment. And we tracked it for them. And that worked. That produced as many leads every month as our Yellow Page ad. And
And I'm
literally it
guessing
costs
better quality
nothing.
leads, right, as well.
Better quality leads, yeah, because our clients, our existing clients acted as an advocate and talked about why they should come to us, why we were great. So with
Yes.
local businesses, a lot of times they have little or no marketing or in place. They don't track their marketing. Like John Wanamaker has a famous quote where he says, 50% of his advertising doesn't work, but he doesn't know which 50% it is. That's, for local business, a lot of times it's more like 90% of their advertising isn't working or marketing, and they don't know, couldn't tell you which ones it's not. It's just, a lot of times they focus on, well, I need more customers. I need new customers. I need new customers. But yet when you talk to them and you do some due diligence, you'll discover like, hey, they got a customer base of 3,000 people, but they couldn't tell you when the last time most of them were ever in. Well, as a marketer, you say, okay, let's do a reactivation campaign. That's going to be, then we're literally talking about a letter, envelope, and postage to hit those people. We already have their address. We already have their permission to contact them. So do a reactivation campaign.
And here's where there's a kind of a behavioral aspect to this, which is, do you find you can get them to, if they're not doing things that they should be doing, are you able to help them change their behavior? Or are you better off to offer them something where they don't need to change their behavior and that you just do it for them?
Well, I mean, it depends on their budget, number one.
Mhm.
It depends on the size of their team too. Do they have the bandwidth of their team or themselves to do it themselves? Do they have the budget to pay you or an outside person to do it for them? So working within those parameters, if they can't afford to pay you to do it for them, then you either need to set them up so they can do it themselves or pick a different marketing weapon or advertising weapon for them to do what they can do on their own. Referral systems are great for local businesses in that regard, because it's pretty, once you give them a script and what to say to people and give them the referral program, away they go. You can even make it so it's a letter. Okay, after a customer comes in, 3 days later, this letter needs to go out in the mail to them. And it's talking about, we're a local business. This is, referrals are our lifeblood. If we have given you a positive experience, please, take this business card, give it to a friend.
Yes.
The guys that did our roof a couple of years ago, they had a sign they put in our front yard for a week, just advertising their business. And that was their only form of marketing that they did, is they put those placards up. While the guys were there working on my roof, two of our neighbors came by, saw what they're doing, and said, "Oh, you know what? Can you give us a quote for our roofs?" So, brick and local businesses, you can get a lot of that stuff. If they see a roofer's working on your roof, they'll take that as kind of an endorsement that this person's doing good work. If your neighbor is friendly with you and asks you, like, "Hey, you know, did you like what they do with your roof?" "Yeah, sure." Boom. Or, "Nah, I wouldn't use them. Again, I wouldn't recommend them." Either way, you can influence whether they get the new lead or not.
Yeah, the social proof and demonstration both built into that.
Right. Well, we needed a contractor last year for some work inside our house because my wife jokes I'm more likely to hurt myself with a hammer than actually use it properly.
Mm-hmm.
And she's had 2 back surgeries, so she can't do that kind of work anymore. Um, which is a big contrast for her because when we got married, our bridesmaids gave her a laser tracking miter saw as a bridal shower gift. Um, we have somebody come out to give a quote in our house, like say we're getting, air conditioning work done. The person will come out to talk to my wife and I. They'll say all these technical terms. I'll sit there and nod my head and act like I know what the hell they're talking about. And my wife is like, no, it's right in her wheelhouse. She knows exactly what she's talking about. She starts asking the pertinent questions. But yeah, so last year we needed a contractor. I asked one of my neighbors. I said, who did you use? You had some work done in your basement last year, didn't you? Yeah. Oh, who did you use? Oh, yeah, we used so and so. They were great. Cool. Can I get the phone number? Yeah, I'll bring it over to you tomorrow. Cool. Thanks. So really, with local businesses, if you can take a look at their retention rates, their repeat business, are they getting referrals? Are they incentivizing their customers? Have they created an environment that gets their client base thinking about referring other people to them? So, for example, when I owned a Massage Pros, that was the massage therapy center I had, I took a trip out to a massage therapy center in Ohio that was doing multiple of my business and their popularity. And one of the first things I discovered was the day we pulled up, it was raining outside. And they had somebody from their staff come out with an umbrella to meet us at the car and walk us into the place for our appointment. I mean, right away, it was like, wow, completely different experience. I mean, compare that to how many other places where you get soaked from your car to their office, getting in the door. This guy, this owner, Jack Hayes, of his massage therapy center, Connecting Touch in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, just absolutely nails the customer service. And as a result, 100% of his business comes from referrals, a little bit from his website. But his client base is just 100% incentivized to just tell everybody about his place.
That's such a beautiful example, just because it's very, it's very evocative straight away. If you show up at a place and somebody walks out with an umbrella to stop you getting rained on, first off, you're setting that's an amazing first impression to make with a person. And it's giving them an experience they're not used to and that they're
Right.
very unlikely to forget, and an experience they're likely to tell people about it as well.
Yep. Here's another example that I remember from that experience. We get there, there's a 15-minute wait or so until our appointment's ready to start. They brought us out a heated up neck wrap, which we could put on our neck or our lower back, wherever we wanted to. So we got to experience that while we were waiting. They gave us a choice of tea or coffee or water for the appointment. After the appointment, when you leave the rooms, you have to go through their gift shop area where they sell the neck wraps, they sell the tea, they sell the coffee, they sell the music that you heard played during your session. Cross sells.
You can recreate the whole experience when you get home.
Exactly.
I love it. I love these kinds of things where people find multiple ways to monetize an experience, or to,
Yeah.
I think that's a limitation that a lot of businesses have. And that's, I guess, kind of part of our job as marketers, is to see like, what else is it that could be sold, that's just there, that they're taking for granted, that could be something good that somebody might want to buy.
Exactly.
Just because they haven't made the offer yet.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you factor in that people prefer to do business with people they like, know, and trust.
Mm-hmm.
If you've already got the customer, you've already created initial goodwill, then what else do they need? What else can you sell to them? And it's easy. It's a lot easier.
Yes. Hey, I'm going to hit you with a problem now. Feel
Okay.
free, because it's a challenge that I'm facing, and maybe you can give me some good advice here. Is
Sure.
I'm working with the client who's in the real estate industry, and we're looking for sellers. And it's not the typical type of seller where it's like, need cash now, we'll buy your house. It's more kind of upmarket type of seller who's usually got quite a valuable property that they would like to sell, but maybe they're, they're not in a hurry. They don't need to sell. Their hair is not on fire. And selling is probably going to be a bit of a pain in the ass for them. It might be an inherited house that's full of dead parent stuff. It could be
Okay.
that they're a bit older and they need to downsize, but the thought of actually having to do the cleanup before they downsize is making them think don't want to do it. Or they want to move house out of state, but it's just like, they're not under any urgent time pressure to. And they're unlikely to sell. Their house is not listed, they're off the market. How do you attract a person like that?
So the first thing I would do is I look at the what the common demographics are from cases like that that the client has already sold. Is there specific neighborhoods that they're hitting? Is there specific age range of the people? Is it retirees, for example, or people who just got noticed they have to their jobs moving them across the country? So identify those common characteristics. From there, I would probably do direct mail to hit them. People will hang on to things like that even if they're not ready to take action now. Depending on budget, I might send them a postcard once a month, or even a full-blown, 3-page, 4-page newsletter. Could even be a quarterly one, just keeping that contact in touch.
So to stop you there, are you
Sure.
suggesting you generate the lead online with the advertising and then actually activate the lead with direct mail?
You could do that, or you could identify the lead just in terms of local geography, local demographics. Looking at your client's database, who have they already sold this to? Who's already taken advantage of it? Okay, we have 10 people have done this, 10 buyers, 8 of them are in this neighborhood. Okay, that's obviously a neighborhood where people are more predisposed to do it, have the property value that we're looking for. Let's start there. What are the common characteristics? Okay, 75% of them are women. Okay, let's tailor our marketing so that it's the voice is one that is more appealing to women who'll be reading it. Maybe it's less aggressive copy. Maybe it's more conversational. Maybe it's more storytelling. Joanne found herself at 72 years old that the house is getting to become too much for her to take care of. She was ready to make a transition. We helped her. For free evaluation, how we can help you, please go to this website or please call this phone number. For the record,
Thank
that
you.
was 100% ad-lib copy.
No, this is good. All good food for thought. I mean, I know in the particular project they've used direct mail successfully in the past, but I think it's come to a point where after years of doing it, it's just getting more and more expensive. That's what I'm hearing from the client side. It's like the number of pieces to mail out to generate a lead in the areas they want to get. It's just getting more, the response rates are low.
I mean, it could also be they could also try like a newspaper or a periodical ad, for lead gen. Go to this website for more information and get the lead that way, or call this 800 number, for free report or for more information. Really comes down to what are the common characteristics of their ideal prospects. They can even try reaching out to the previous sellers, the customers, your previous customers. You had a positive experience with us. Cool. If you know somebody else who we could help, please pass this card on to them.
So that
We had our kitchen done a few years ago, and they sent us a postcard afterwards that was basically the same thing. If somebody else who needs our help, please pass this postcard on to them and have them call us.
see the reaching out to the past guys is something we can talk about with him. Mike, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with me today. I'm getting interviewed now in about 5 minutes time, so I gotta go
Okay,
jump onto the next call.
sounds good.
I'll be publishing you in a few weeks time,
Okay,
and where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, easiest way is probably through my website, superbcopywriting.com. I don't have any info products. I sell my own. I don't do
Hmm.
any coaching programs anymore. I don't have the time for it. But certainly, if you want to reach out to me that way, you try on Facebook, but I've no joke, I've probably got 900 people have sent me friend requests that I haven't even looked at yet because Facebook's just time black hole. You go there for 5 minutes and 2 hours later, you're like, oh my God, what happened to the time? Um, so I try to stay off of Facebook as much as I can.
Cool. No, I'll put the link to your website
Cool.
in the video description. Thank you once again for taking the time tonight. I appreciate you being here, and enjoy the
Thank you,
rest of your
John.
day.
Thanks, you too. Bye now.